This story begins with the destruction of the world, much like many other manhwas. The entire city was engulfed in flames. Armies and aliens were battling in the sky, while on the ground, massive monsters attacked the public, devouring them like chickens. Suddenly, a beast so colossal appeared that it blocked out the sun, plunging the sky into darkness. Yet it felt like a kindred spirit. Our protagonist walked toward the massive creature, and as he gazed into its eyes, he felt as if they were the same being. The beast was him, and he was the beast. The enormous creature turned to face the monsters and unleashed an energy beam from its mouth resembled Godzilla's. For all the humans fleeing from the aliens and monsters, it was a sign of hope. Something so powerful was on their side. Our protagonist looked down at the world, knowing it would honor him as if he were a god. Now, he is humanity's hope, the one who can control that massive beast. It all began a few months ago. Reports on the news stated that on June 2, 2224, the zoo in Ning City was attacked by a snake over 100 meters long. Experts were unable to identify the species of the snake. Several citizens managed to film the appearance of a giant whale-like beast in the sky north of the city caused quite a stir. Recently, internationally wanted criminals had been spotted on the loose in Ning City. The news was being broadcast live on television in a room where our protagonist lay on a table covered in his own blood. Yet, he could see himself lying there unconscious. He was deeply confused because the body in front of his eyes was his own. He couldn't understand what was happening. Turning around, he caught a glimpse of himself in a mirror and was shocked to see that he had transformed into a sea iguana. Our protagonist's name is Chen Chua, sophomore at the University of Nim. Chen Chu had been renting a place off campus because he didn't like living in the dorms. He loved cold-blooded animals and was fascinated by their vibrant colors. The pet store where he often bought animals had just received a new batch of exotic pets, and Chen was immediately drawn to a sea iguana, an amphibious creature. Sea iguanas are generally gentle, but an accident occurred the moment this one was set free. It broke out of its cage and attacked Chen, biting his hand with its sharp teeth. Chen was in immense pain and immediately pulled out his phone from his pocket, striking the sea iguana on the head. When the sea iguana was hit, it lost its grip and freed Chen's hand. However, before falling, the iguana's tail struck Chen's phone, which then hit Chen on the head. As a result, both of them lost consciousness. After seeing himself as the sea iguana in his dreams, Chen woke up to find the creature right in front of his face. But something had changed in both of them. When Chen raised his hand, the sea iguana raised its hand too. Chen was surprised to discover that he could now control the lizard's body as if it were an extension of his own. It felt just like moving his arms. Smiling at the sea iguana, he wondered if this was his so-called golden finger. Perhaps it was finally time for his hero's journey to begin. But there was a problem. Chen didn't know what his iguana buddy was capable of. He wondered if he should live stream to show off how smart his lizard was, or sell freshly dug up abalone or sea cucumbers. Thinking about all this, Chen felt disappointed. He guessed he wasn't meant to be a main character after all. When other people get cheats, they either become a powerful villain ordained by fate or a tree that grows into the god of the universe. He was stuck with a little lizard. While thinking about all this, both his and the iguana's stomachs growled at the same time. Chen realized he was very hungry as he hadn't noticed he'd been passed out for the entire day. Looking at the iguana, he wondered what sea iguanas ate. His sea iguana seemed very curious and started climbing onto Chen's hand. Seeing this, Chen thought, since it's a lizard, it should be fine with meat. He took a packed steak out of his refrigerator and, using his amazing cooking skills, prepared a delicious medium-rare steak. When the sea iguana saw Chen's cooked steak, its eyes lit up immediately and it began eating the steak happily. Watching it eat like that, Chen smiled and said, "I knew it, sea iguanas and lizards can both eat meat." Just as the sea iguana was devouring the steak, a system notification suddenly popped up in front of Chen's eyes, saying, "After eating, your clone received 5 evolution points, and your constitution has increased by 0.5. Chen was shocked. What is this? Before he could make sense of anything, the entire system's status window suddenly popped up. It was Chen's status window. It showed the following. Level 0, Constitution 8.5, Spirit 12, Talent Mind Control Traits. External Aura, Beginner 0/1000 XP, and Q Perception, Beginner 0/1000 XP. Skills Extremities, Boxing, Beginner 48 points. Stepping cloud jump, beginner, 66 points. Springing leg, beginner, 39 points. Clone C, iguana. Evolution not started, 5 points. 200 points needed for the first evolution. Chen stared at the window in disbelief, still trying to process what was happening. Chen was too shocked to see the status window. He wondered if this was his actual cheat. In the status window, what caught Chen's eyes the most were his skills. Looking at them, Chen recalled his past. During his childhood, his father used to teach him martial arts. He would always tell Chen that simply practicing the forms without understanding the foundation would amount to nothing. The root of your strength lies in your feet, his father would say. It should start from your thighs, flow through your abdomen, and be controlled with precision. These lessons would last 10 to 12 hours a day, leaving Chen's small body utterly exhausted. But whenever Chen asked his father if he could take a break, his father would immediately refuse, saying, "It is cowardly to give up halfway." From the very beginning, Chen didn't want to be a coward, so he started practicing again, running as fast as he could. Even when he tripped and fell to the ground or got injured, his father never helped him. Instead, his father would simply say, "No one else will help you when you grow up." Then, one day when Chen was 10 years old, his father handed him a box and said, "This is all of our savings." He told Chen that he needed to take a very long trip and that Chen would have to walk the rest of the journey on his own. Very sad that day. For the first time, Chen's father patted his head and told him to remember that he could never neglect practicing martial arts. He said that when Chen was strong enough, he would be able to see the other side of the world. Chen was deeply saddened and asked his dad, "How am I supposed to find you again?" His father told him that when he became a grandmaster, but then he stopped before finishing. He looked at Chen and added, "I may not be here anymore by then." And just like that, Chen's father left the house and closed the main door. Since then, his father had not returned. Chen became very emotional as he remembered his past. He looked at a picture of his father and mother, feeling very sad, as a decade had passed before he even realized it. While Chen was lost in his thoughts, the sea iguana completely cleared his plate. Chen was amazed at how quickly the little guy ate. After the iguana finished, its body began to shine in red. Chen looked closely at the iguana, confused, wondering if this was really happening or if it was just him. Or did the sea iguana just grow longer? Chen immediately looked at his status window and saw that the sea iguana's evolution points had increased to 15. Chen was a little surprised to see that the sea iguana now had 15 points after just one meal. While he was trying to understand how his system worked, something suddenly caught his eye. Chen saw himself in the mirror placed in his room. His body looked very different from before. He immediately checked his body and was shocked to see his 8-pack abs. Chen's body hadn't been this built before. He realized that the points the iguana received could even affect him. Chen looked at his iguana, wondering if, since it had evolved for the first time, it could continue evolving with more points. Perhaps it could even grow into the behemoth from his dreams. Chen felt very happy, thinking that with the help of this system, he could become a real martial arts grandmaster. The next day at the marketplace, Chen bought 10 pounds of prime beef, no bones, 20 pounds of lean pork, also no bones, and asked the shopkeeper to pack everything. He then used his phone to pay with the QR code. He placed everything in the back of his car, thinking this should be enough to last for a few days. Then he drove off from the marketplace and, without wasting any time, headed straight back to his apartment, ready to use his master chef skills. He made all kinds of dishes for the sea iguana to eat, believing that doing so would bring him closer to becoming a martial arts master. Upon seeing the dishes, the sea iguana's mouth watered. In just a few seconds, the sea iguana finished all the plates. Chen connected his mind with the sea iguana and found that, in the iguana's palate, pork didn't taste as good as beef. He then disconnected the control and woke up. After just a few minutes of connection, he felt tired. While stretching, he said, "The beef could use a bit more cumin. I'll make sure to add more next time." After the meal, the sea iguana took a nap while wearing sunglasses. On the other hand, Chen went to the martial arts room to train. With all his strength, he punched a punching bag. His punch was so strong that it completely changed the punching bag's shape. A system notification popped up, telling Chen that after his hard work in training, his extremities boxing experience had increased by 5 points. Chen was happy because not only had his constitution improved, but his training progress was also faster than before. 2 days passed like that, and Chen was still training. He had destroyed 2 punching bags in those 2 days, and the current one he was using didn't look too great. After training for so long, he was a little exhausted. He said, "This feeling of getting stronger just by working hard at training is amazing." Before finishing this session, he jumped and kicked the punching bag with all his power. His kick was so strong that the chains holding the punching bag broke, and the punching bag went flying. After just 3 days of training, Chen's attributes increased significantly. His extremities boxing skill upgraded to the intermediate level, and his stepping, cloud jump, and springing leg skills also grew more powerful. Not only that, the sea iguana's evolution points increased to 195, now needing just 5 more points to evolve for the first time. Looking at his status window, Chen said, "From the perspective of traditional martial arts, I should have reached the peak of the Ming realm by now." Chen remembered his father telling him that the realms of martial arts are divided into Ming, Dark, and Transformation. The peak of the Ming realm makes one a top-notch fighter, capable of taking on 10 opponents alone, while the Dark realm makes one a first-rate expert, able to fight 100 at once, but they are usually hidden within legendary families. The Transformation realm allows one to take on 1,000. They're the Grand Masters recorded in history, rare in modern times. The Transformation realm represents an unbreakable body, only described in ancient texts. At that time, Chen was very amazed and asked his father which realm he was in. Chen's father told him that he had once briefly reached the Dark realm, but his expression darkened as he remembered what happened afterward. Little Chen didn't understand his father's emotions. He was very amazed that his father had reached the Dark realm and asked him if he was from one of those legendary families. Chen's father was shocked by little Chen's question. He took a deep breath and told Chen that he was just from Luotuan. In the present, it was already afternoon. When Chen came out of the martial arts room, he found his sea iguana lying on the sofa. He was surprised to see how much the sea iguana had grown in just 3 days. The sea iguana only needed 5 points to evolve. Looking at it, Chen said, "One more meal and you'll be ready to evolve. Let's hope it won't be disappointing." He made many dishes again and gave them to the sea iguana. As the sea iguana started eating, its evolution points began to increase. The evolution points reached 199, and it was almost ready to evolve. Chen connected with it again. Chen couldn't wait to see how this little guy would change, so he connected with the sea iguana. When the evolution points reached 200, a system notification appeared, telling Chen that his clone, the sea iguana, had met the evolution requirements, and the evolution would now begin. Just as the notification appeared, a lightning bolt ran through the sea iguana's left hand. The pain was so intense that Chen, who was connected to the sea iguana, also felt it in his own left hand. Both Chen and the sea iguana fell to the ground because of the pain. Spikes grew on the sea iguana's back, and its body began to grow. Scales appeared all over its body. The sea iguana was in so much pain from the transformation that it ran wild in the room, destroying everything in its path. After a few minutes, the pain of the evolution slowed down. Chen, still lying on the ground, was very shocked. He didn't think evolution would hurt this much. Suddenly, he heard some noises from his side and looked over. It was the sea iguana, which had now grown to the size of a crocodile. Chen was impressed by its size and decided to see how strong his sea iguana had become after evolving. At Chen's command, the sea iguana turned with lightning speed and hit the punching bag with its tail. The punching bag exploded from the force of the sea iguana's tail attack. Chen was impressed. His constitution doubled and his spirit increased by 2. His external aura and key perception traits also became more powerful. After completing the first evolution, the sea iguana needed 1,000 evolution points to evolve again. Chen was surprised when he looked at his status window, as he didn't expect this. When the clone evolves, he hadn't anticipated that his main body's physique and attributes would directly double in growth. Looking at his status window, Chen was a little confused. He didn't know if his attributes increased because his current strength was too weak, or if every time the clone evolves, his body's constitution would double. Chen smiled, thinking, "If it's the former, then my strength will improve at a decent pace early on. But if it's the latter, that would be kind of terrifying." Currently, judging by traditional martial arts standards, Chen realized that he had just entered the dark realm. He activated his traits, which allowed him to unleash external energy. Seeing red energy coming out of his body, Chen got very happy because now he was officially a martial arts expert. However, after looking at the energy, Chen understood that with training, 100 skill experience points a day was the limit. He thought that, since the improvements were mirrored, to further enhance his body he would have to rely on the sea iguana. He connected himself again with the sea iguana, and when he released his energy, the sea iguana also released the same energy. Chen was shocked to find that even the iguana could release external energy. Suddenly, the sea iguana became alert and looked in the direction of the main door. It felt like someone's presence, and that person started knocking on Chen's apartment door. Chen was also a little surprised by the sudden guest. The one knocking on the door was a muscular guy who looked very angry. Chen opened the door slowly and asked the muscular guy what happened. Chen stepped outside while his energy was still active, and because of that, his presence felt like that of a monster in human form. The muscular guy was shaking in fear after seeing Chen, thinking, "What's with this kid? He's giving me the vibe that he could crush me in seconds." The muscular guy tried to act as sweet as he could to avoid angering Chen and told him that lately it had been kind of noisy upstairs, so he came to check if his place was under renovation. Chen acted clueless and immediately apologized to the man, explaining that there were no renovations here, he had just been training lately and didn't realize it was that loud. The muscular guy became more scared upon hearing that it was just training, wondering whose training feels like an earthquake. He tried to take a sneak peek into Chen's apartment and saw that everything inside was destroyed. It felt like an earthquake had happened inside. The muscular guy was too scared to see all that and realized that if he said anything to Chen, it wouldn't go well. He immediately turned around and said, "It's fine, no big deal." While leaving, he asked Chen if he could change his training methods a bit, maybe something quieter. Chen apologized again and told the man that it was no problem and that he would adjust his training methods from now on. The scared, muscular guy thanked Chen and immediately went into the elevator to escape. After he left, Chen's sea iguana came out, having been hiding on Chen's command. After checking that everything was okay and that the muscular guy hadn't found out, the iguana relaxed. About the sea iguana, Chen closed the door. Looking at the size of his sea iguana clone, he realized that it was too large and no longer suitable to keep indoors. He decided that it was about time to release the sea iguana clone into the sea. He took the sea iguana in his car and drove off to the nearest beach. When he arrived at the beach and checked that no one was around, he opened the door of his car and let the sea iguana come out. Even though it was a sea iguana, it was its first time seeing the sea in real life. After that, Chen connected his mind with the sea iguana, controlled its body, and guided it into the sea. Once the sea iguana was underwater, Chen activated his energy sense. With the energy sensing activated, Chen could see many sea creatures all around him, thanks to the current energy sense. He can cover a radius of 10 meters around him. While he was exploring the sea and its animals, he saw a 5-eyed fish swimming. Chen was shocked to see that a fish actually had 5 eyes. He decided to make it today's first target. Slowly, he started following the 5-eyed fish, getting very close. He immediately jumped to attack. The fish was too shocked to see the sea iguana and quickly swam into a hole in the ground. After killing that fish, the sea iguana ate it. A system notification appeared, telling Chen that after eating the mutated fish, his clone gained 10 evolution points. Chen's physique also increased by 1. Chen was surprised to see 10 evolution points because after evolving, eating normal food only provides 1 evolution point per meal. But mutated fish can actually give 10 points. Chen thought that with these kinds of mutated creatures appearing in the ocean and the recent news, it seemed like the world was far from peaceful. While roaming around, Chen noticed a mutated fish with 10 eyes and hunted it down. He killed the fish with its sharp teeth and devoured it, gaining more evolution points. After a few hours, Chen received a system notice that his clone had already reached the daily cap of 100 evolution points and could not gain more today. Chen was amazed to see that while exploring, to human eyes, the ocean at night is cold and pitch black. But through the sea iguana clone's eyes, he saw that the underwater world is colorful and vibrant. As an amphibian, the sea iguana can stay underwater for a long time. But since it doesn't have gills, it still relies on lungs to breathe, so it needs to surface for air every now and then. While exploring, he saw a huge crack on the surface of the sea. He entered the crack and found a cave inside, filled with air. Chen thought this spot looked pretty good and decided to have the sea iguana clone rest there. After disconnecting the mental control of the sea iguana, Chen said, "Since the clone is settled, it's about time for me to head back." While heading home, he saw a house in the middle of the forest. Chen was shocked to see the house. He could not believe that someone was actually living in this place. But before he could pass the house, he heard someone's voice asking for help. Chen understood that something was wrong. His super hearing activated at the right time. However, to avoid alerting the bad guys, he didn't stop his car and continued driving. His decision was correct because two thugs, one bald and one with blue hair, were looking at his car from inside the house. They checked carefully to see if Chen's car had left. Those thugs had kidnapped a girl whose screams for help Chen had heard. The two thugs were checking the car outside, and one black-hailed thug was stopping the girl from screaming. The bald thug kicked the black-hailed guy, shouting, "How are you this careless? Didn't I tell you to watch her? You didn't even notice the cloth fell out of her mouth." The black-hamed thug explained to his boss that it was so dark outside, how could he have seen it when they dragged her in? The bald thug understood that it wasn't his fault. He took a cloth and covered the girl's mouth, telling her to shut up and behave, or he would let the guys have their fun tonight. The girl was very scared and helpless. Little did she know, her savior had already arrived. Chen came on foot so that the thugs wouldn't get alerted. He immediately activated his energy sense. With that, he could easily see what was happening inside the house and how many people were there. It worked like X-ray vision. He saw that inside there were two thugs having a drink, a girl who was tied up with ropes, and another thug standing beside the main door eating something, and he was busy on his phone. Seeing the scene from inside, Chen realized that it was either kidnapping or human trafficking. There were 3 men and 2 of them had knives. Chen decided that it was best to deal with them within a minute. He gathered all his energy in his hand and then smashed the main door of the house. When he smashed the door, the thugs were surprised and immediately took out their knives. Chen didn't give them any chance to attack. He immediately kicked the black-haired thug in the stomach. That thug went flying and hit a wall behind him with a solid impact. "You piece of shit!" the bald thug shouted, jumping to attack Chen from behind. But Chen turned around with lightning speed and hit the thug on the chest with his elbow. Chen's attack broke the thug's ribs, sending him flying, but then the third blue-haired thug appeared and caught the bald thug from falling. He told the bald thug to take a breath, then he stepped forward, took a martial arts pose, and announced his move. "A Yue Wang fist," he said. His name was Ning Fu, and he asked Chen for his move. Chen also took the pose of the martial arts technique his father taught him, announcing it as Luo Tuan 8 Extremities Boxing. Their fight began. Ning Fu used his Yue Wang fist technique, move 1, Tu Lu fist, and attacked Chen with his fist. But Chen easily blocked the attack and then pulled himself toward Ning Fu. Just as Ning Fu was within range, Chen tried to kick him in the face. Ning Fu also blocked Chen's attack with his leg, then used Yue Wang fist's move 2, Two Horses Join Tang, and punched Chen in the face with full power. His punch landed perfectly, making Chen realize that Ning Fu is an expert. Chen was falling, but managed to balance his footing and stop himself. Now, Ning Fu was within his range. Ning Fu was surprised to see Chen still standing. Before he could react, Chen turned around with lightning speed. Chen used his 8 Extremities Boxing's Iron Mountain Slam technique and slammed Ning Fu with his shoulder. Chen's attack was so powerful that Ning Fu went flying and hit the ground with a solid impact. Ning Fu was on the ground but smiled, thinking, "This is getting interesting." He stood up and told Chen that he didn't expect this. After coming down the mountain, he never thought he would meet a real disciple of Luo Tuan in Extremities. Ning Fu admitted that the Iron Mountain Slam, an ultimate move of 8 extremities, truly deserved its reputation. But Chen told him, "It's a shame though." Confused, Ning Fu asked him what he meant by a shame. Chen walked toward Ning Fu and told him that he didn't expect to see a thug being halfway decent with Yue Wang fist. What a shame that the disciple of Yue Wang fist has gone down a crooked path. Hearing that, Ning Fu started smiling. While standing, he said, "What are you so high and mighty for? You're just a student who doesn't know any better. I only understood after I left the mountain." He suddenly jumped to attack Chen, shouting, "In this world, if you want to get ahead, you have to do whatever it takes." Ning Fu left his martial arts stance and used his fingers to attack Chen's eyes. Chen was surprised, but he reacted in time and kicked Ning Fu in the face, sending him flying. Ning Fu went flying and fell flat on his face. After the battle, Chen's adrenaline went down and he collapsed on the ground. Chen admitted that the battle between martial artists was truly dangerous. The pressure he felt from Ning Fu was far greater than dozens of strong musclemen. Looking at his fist, Chen thought, "Too bad that my control over my strength is still inadequate. Things don't bode well for these three people. They've all sustained serious injuries." Chen decided to practice mastering control over his strength somehow. After seeing all the kidnappers defeated, the girl started making sounds to call Chen. Chen went and freed her from the ropes. The girl was so scared that she immediately hugged Chen. Chen comforted her, saying, "It's all over now, don't be scared." The girl, while crying, thanked Chen for his help. After the girl calmed down a little, Chen gave her a phone and told her that she could call the police after he left. Chen told her that if the police asked about him, she could tell them she didn't get a good look at him and didn't know who he was. The girl he saved was very pretty. She nodded and told Chen that she wouldn't tell the police. Then, 10 minutes later, the police arrived at the scene. They surrounded the whole place. Officers entered, telling the thugs not to move and to put their hands in the air. But the officers were shocked when they saw inside. All the thugs were already lying on the ground, and only the girl was standing there. The scene then shifted to police headquarters, where security agency police officer Guan Qing came to her deputy chief's office with the information he had asked for. She told the deputy chief that they were able to see clearly. There were footprints on the broken door. Based on the depth and the way the door's axle broke off, someone kicked the door open from the front. The door flew about 3 meters away, so the force used was at least 1,000 kilograms. She took out all the photos from the scene and told the deputy chief that among the kidnappers, 2 of them died instantly, and the one left has entered a vegetative state after suffering a major concussion. According to the kidnapped girl Lin Rongya, the person who helped her was wearing a mask at night, and she couldn't tell what they looked like. The deputy chief of the security agency looked at those photos and became confused, asking, "How can this be?" The most force the king of boxing was able to exert was 800 kilograms on a machine in boxing. In real life, it's unheard of for this amount of force to be reached, Officer Guan Qing agreed, saying it's true that this guy's strength is inhuman, although stranger things have been happening lately. While they were talking, thunder suddenly struck above the city. Looking out of his window, the deputy chief said, "A storm is coming." He wasn't referring to the weather, but to the evil forces that could disturb the city's public peace. Meanwhile, after saving the girl, Chen drove to a lakeside in his car. There was a boat in the lake, but Shen's attention was not on the boat itself. He was watching it from his car. From the boat, 3 men emerged. 2 of them were shirtless and looked like thugs, while the third man with black hair appeared to be a businessman. One of the thugs called the black-haired man boss and asked him something. They mentioned that they had just made some money, but their boss had already spent 1 million on a woman from Bald Tiger. "Isn't that too wasteful?" one thug remarked. He asked them if they even knew who that woman was, adding that money wouldn't be an issue if they had her. Hearing this, both thugs became excited. The black-haired man then asked one of the thugs if he had finished the business with the company. That thug reassured him, saying not to worry and that he had already arranged a shipping company. They rented a high-end office building for the offices, as per his request. The other thug told the black-haired boss that he had also hired a headhunting company to find the prettiest girls for the secretary and front desk positions, assuring him he wouldn't be disappointed. Hearing this, the black-haired boss smiled and said, "With the underwater breathing ability, I have awakened. As long as we find the location of a sunken ship, we can bring all the treasures to shore. Then we will have as much money as we want," he said with a laugh. He told the thugs to follow him closely, promising that he wouldn't let them starve. While they were talking, something suddenly jumped onto a tree behind them, alerting the 3 men. The black-haired boss "Who's there?" he asked. It was Chen, hiding behind the tree. Chen stepped out and told the black-haired man, "I've seen a lot of perverts, but there are some special ones." Seeing Chen emerge from behind the tree, the black-haired man pulled out his knife. He immediately jumped to attack Chen, shouting, "You've got a lot of nerve, but people like you don't live long," he shouted, fully intent on killing Chen. Little did he know, Chen was a martial artist. Chen gathered all his energy into his leg and kicked the ground with full force. His attack was so powerful, It shattered the ground, sending the black-haired man bouncing into the air. As he fell, Chen struck his hand, forcing him to drop the knife. Not giving the black-haired man any chance to fight back, Chen kicked him in the stomach with such force that he went flying, crashing into a tree. The other two thugs, terrified at the sight of their boss being defeated, froze in fear. One thug exclaimed, "It's impossible. The boss became so much stronger and faster after getting his superpower. He can easily defeat 5 guys." The second thug, panicking, said, "This isn't good. Let's run away." But before they could make their escape, Chen struck the back of their heads, knocking them unconscious and causing them to collapse to the ground. After taking down the 2 thugs, Chen turned to the black-hailed man and asked him to look at him. The black-hailed man, frightened, asked Chen what he was doing. Well, Chen was about to test out his mind control power. He activated the mind control skill and asked the black-hailed man what his name was and what he did. As he gazed into Chen's eyes, the black-hailed man's mind was controlled by Chen, causing his eyes to turn purple. He approached Chen and told him that his name was Zhang Changshao, that he owned a ship and that he smuggled for a living. A month ago, he had gained the superpower to breathe underwater. Hearing the black-haired man reveal everything about himself, Chen was pleased because his mind control was extremely effective. The black-haired man was now essentially a puppet under his control. The black-haired man continued, telling Chen that he raided sunken ships in the depths and exchanged any treasure he found for money with wealthy individuals. After the black-haired man revealed everything, Chen canceled the mind control. As soon as the mind control ended, the black-haired man's broken hand began to hurt terribly, and he fell to the ground. He called Chen boss and asked what had happened to his hand. Chen, confused, told him, "You broke it yourself accidentally." Hearing this, the black-haired man again called Chen boss and said he understood. Realizing that his mind control had affected the black-haired man's judgment as well, Chen told him to rest new. A bit on the boat first, saying he would be there in a second after waking up the other 2. The black guy followed his order. Chen knew that to raise his lizard he would need a huge amount of food. Zhang Changshou had a ship and often worked with rich people. Chen thought that perhaps he could get money through Zhang's company to raise his lizard. Once again, he used his mind control skill and controlled the other 2 thugs. The effect of Chen's mind control is amazing. There was some resistance when he tried to control Zhang Changshou, but it was very easy when it came to normal thugs. It's especially effective on weak-minded people. After a few minutes, Chen went to the ship that the black-hailed guy had mentioned. A man wearing glasses, a man who also worked on the boat, asked the black-hailed guy who Chen was. The black-hailed guy told him that Chen was his boss and that they needed to be respectful to him. Hearing this, all the men on the ship greeted Chen respectfully. Then the black-hailed guy asked the man with glasses to prepare the contract for the transfer, saying, "This is my boss's ship now." In a few minutes, the man with glasses prepared the transfer contract and handed it over to Chen. Chen took the document and asked the man with glasses to wait for him at the office the next day. He then told the black-haired guy who was injured to follow him to the hospital. The next day, early in the morning, out at sea, Chen continued his hunt with his sea iguana. They immediately attacked it. A great white shark took the sea iguana into its mouth and tried to bite it. However, just as it attempted to bite, the sea iguana raised its spikes, injuring the shark. The shark died, and seeing this, the others got scared and fled. Then, Chen's sea iguana began eating the dead shark's body. It gained 10 evolution points. Chen was connected to the sea iguana and shared its senses. He tasted the great white shark's meat and thought it was very tender. After eating the shark, Chen received a system notification stating that his clone had met the evolution requirements. The notification asked, "Does he want to evolve?" The sea iguana. Chen was a little surprised to find that he could make the choice now. He confirmed it to evolve. The sea iguana came out of the sea and its evolution began. Lightning of evolution started coursing through the sea iguana's body, causing it immense pain. At the same time, in the gym, Chen also felt the same pain and collapsed to the ground. He looked at his stats window and saw that he had leveled up and was now level 1. His constitution was 130 and his spirit was 38. His beginner traits, external aura and key perception, now had 280 experience points. His skills had also been enhanced. They were all now at the intermediate level. His 8 extremities boxing skill had 370 experience points, stepping cloud jump had 290, and tan leg technique had 370 points. Chen's clone, had evolved into a scale-armored, spiny lizard. It was a newborn, ferocious beast, attempting to evolve into a ferocious beast lord. It had evolved twice and needed 5,000 evolution points for its next evolution. It also gained an ability named Water Affinity. Chen's body had also become more muscular. He was happy because he had made a breakthrough, and his constitution was now 13 times that of a normal person. He had reached a level equivalent to great success in the dark realm of ancient martial arts. However, upon looking at his status window, Chen was a little disappointed that his constitution didn't double after this evolution. Still, this confirmed that it had doubled the last time. Because his base stat low, he looked into the sea iguana's details and noticed that it now had water affinity. However, he didn't know anything about it and wondered what it meant to have water affinity. Chen then connected himself to the sea iguana and was surprised to see its body size. The sea iguana's body had become much larger. Its bone density was several times greater than before, and its weight had reached 4 to 5 tons. Its power had doubled, and the claws were as strong as steel. Now, it was much more explosive than before. Following the ship, Chen noticed that the sea iguana could now swim at up to 70 kilometers per hour, faster than a large ship. The sea iguana made less noise and also felt less resistance while swimming. Chen thought this must be due to the water affinity ability. The next day, Chen called the glasses guy and asked him if anyone had been asking for treasures lately. The glasses guy told him that no one had been asking recently. Hearing that, Chen said they would now find the treasure themselves. He then asked the glasses guy how the research was going. The glasses guy informed him that they had found a few locations with sunken ships, but without Boss Zhang, who could breathe underwater, they couldn't do anything. Chen told the glasses guy, "Don't worry about it, he can do that." Chen looked into the database and found that the shallow water areas of routes used by Z country in the past, as well as the major commercial waterways used by H country and R country, had mostly been explored. However, there were still many priceless ships in the deeper areas. Chen took his sea iguana to a location 25 kilometers off the southeast coast of the Yellow Sea. Chen connected with the sea iguana and checked that he could now breathe deeply underwater after this evolution. His perception had also increased. He could feel the area up to 20 kilometers around him. He was assured that now he would be ready to go after tidying everything up. Then, he disconnected from the sea iguana. He looked at his phone and saw that it was almost 11 o'clock. He decided to get some food to treat himself, thinking, isn't the point of raising a clone to enjoy life? Chen went to Pedestrian Street, which was near his house. The meal was nice, but Chen was surprised to find that just one meal cost over $3,000. While he was returning home, he noticed something. He saw a girl lying unconscious on the ground, and two men were checking on her. The scene didn't look right to Chen as a righteous man of society. Chen raised his voice and asked them what they were doing. Chen was confident because he knew that with his growing strength and his passion for martial arts awakening, as long as there was no real danger, he didn't mind stepping in. Seeing Chen step in, the thugs became very angry. One thug, in anger, asked Chen what he had just said. Another thug pulled out a knife and shouted, "Kid, get lost!" The original enslavers and Sponson unwillingly disappeared. When he didn't react to it, the officers became dead. At one point, Shen didn't really want to fight them. He just wanted to scare them. Shen's aura took the form of a beast and directed its gaze at the thugs. Although it was not visible to the human eye, people could feel its pressure. Both of the thugs got scared. They were confused and didn't understand why it felt like they were being stared down by a beast. Scared, one thug asked the other, "Let's get out of here." But suddenly, the girl started laughing. She mocked the thugs, asking them if they were actually scared. Are they really not real men? Seeing the woman provoking the thugs, Chen wondered if she was crazy. Hearing the woman's words, the thugs started to rethink their decision to run away. Looking at the woman, they thought that a woman like her didn't come around every day. They couldn't let her think they were weak. Immediately, the thugs charged at Chen. One thug said to the other that there was no reason to be afraid of Chen as he was just one guy. The other thug agreed, saying, "Yeah, let's get him. This guy's way too cocky." Chen was at a loss for words seeing them charge at him. Everything had already been resolved, but because of the girl, the fight ultimately broke out. Left with no choice, Chen got into his martial arts pose. When the thugs were within reach, he kicked them in the stomach, sending them flying. Chen barely used 10% of his strength. Otherwise, that kick could have reduced them to mush. He decided to let them off this time. They'd done wrong, but not enough to deserve death. Both thugs were very scared. While running away, they called Chen a demon who had come straight out of hell. After the thugs ran away, the girl stood up, laughing like a drunk person. She praised Chen, saying he was amazing and strong. Seeing her act like this, Chen wondered if she was drugged. He immediately took out his smartphone and called the cops, informing them that there was a woman who seemed drunk outside Shengtang Bar. He told the cops that she seemed a bit compromised. While Chen was on the call, the woman came close and started teasing him. In a lovely voice, she asked Chen why he had called the cops if she wasn't pretty and if he didn't want to take her home. Chen didn't respond to her and waited for the cops. Finally, after dealing with that, it was time for Chen to control the giant lizard and search for the sunken ship Chen controlled. He took the giant lizard and headed to the location that the glasses guy had sent him. The information was correct, and there really was a sunken ship here. Chen activated his energy sensing ability, but right now, his energy sense could only reach about 20 meters. Chen needed to keep improving it, but even with just that, after a few minutes of searching, he hit the jackpot. On the shipwreck, he found solid gold bars. After finding the gold, Chen gave orders to the glasses guy to steer the ship 3 kilometers east and drop a crate. The glasses guy said, "Got it," and got to work. While he was preparing the crate, a man called the glasses guy and asked him if anyone else on the boss's crew, besides Zhang Changshou, could breathe underwater. The glasses guy told the other man to stop asking questions and not to pry into the boss's secrets. Then, they dropped the crate, and Chen's sea iguana placed all the gold bars onto it. Chen was connected to the sea iguana, and after it placed all the gold bars in the crate, Chen asked the glasses guy to start recovering the loot. After recovering the gold, Chen went back to check the ship again. While exploring, he saw a piece of metal stuck to the wall of the ship. The sea iguana tried to cut the piece of metal, but it was too tough. Chen was surprised because his sea iguana's claws could easily tear. The sea iguana's claws could tear through regular metal, but they barely left a mark on this. Chen thought this must be some kind of special alloy. It could be very valuable, and decided to take it back for study. The sea iguana grabbed the huge rock and began to swim toward the surface. But before it could reach the top, suddenly a white snake-like fish attacked the sea iguana. It was a huge fish that Chen had never seen before. The fish grabbed the sea iguana with its sharp teeth, trying to kill it. Seeing the ambush, Chen became angry, thinking, "Who do you think you are, even though you're longer and bigger than me? When it comes to strength, offense, and defense, you're no match for me." What Chen said was right. In front of his sea iguana, that white fish was nothing. It killed the fish and ate it like sashimi. A few hours later, Chen went to a beach. Looking at a huge rock, Chen thought, the reefs have been eroded by seawater for years, making them incredibly hard. The deserted beach at night is the perfect spot to test my strength. Thinking that, he punched the rock and saw that the force worked both ways. But Chen's bone density is nearly 20 times that of an average human. Plus, with his external shield absorbing most of the impact, his hand only feels a bit sore. And that slight soreness, his body's recovery ability gets rid of it almost instantly. Chen continued practicing his boxing on the huge rock. After this evolution, his physique had surpassed 200. Chen hadn't tested it yet, but he knew his punches should weigh at least 3,000 pounds or 1.5 tons. And with his outer energy boosts and 8 extremities boxing technique, he could punch straight through a person with ease. To test his power, Chen punched the huge rock with full force, and with just one punch, he destroyed it. After training for that long, Chen was very exhausted and fell to the ground. He was training here because his punching bag at home wasn't durable enough and he couldn't train at the park either. With modern technology, if someone recorded him and uploaded it online, it'd be a huge problem if people found out he is extraordinary. It would only bring trouble. That's why he could only train freely at this empty beach. Chen looked at his hand, and it was already healed. He could never believe how insane his recovery ability is. He stopped for less than a minute, and the scrapes on his hands were already gone. While he was busy checking his healing ability, the sea iguana returned to him with the piece of metal. Chen examined the metal and saw that this irregular black ore shined with a metallic luster, but at first glance, it didn't seem particularly special. When he tried to pick up the metal, he was surprised because the chunk weighed close to 200 pounds. It was heavy and extremely tough. Even the giant lizard's claws struggled to scratch it. Chen thought that this was perfect for crafting a weapon. But he knew that with his current skills, making a suitable weapon would be difficult, so for now, he decided to focus on dealing with those gold bars. After training, Chen returned to the ship and asked the glasses guy, "Where's the stuff?" The glasses guy told him, he said that it's all on the ship and everything's been cleaned up. He led Chen to the captain's cabin where all the gold was. While Chen was checking the gold, the glasses guy asked him how much money it was worth. He was amazed to see all that gold, saying he had never seen so many gold bars in his life. Chen told the glasses guy that the gold bars didn't have any markings, so they must have been privately minted, which means they can't sell them as antiques. The next day, after doing some research, Chen found a shop in bustling downtown where he could sell the gold on the black market. Just as he entered, the receptionist welcomed him. Chen immediately asked her if they buy gold here. The receptionist told him they did and asked if he was selling rings or necklaces. Chen showed her the gold bars from his bag and told her that he wanted to sell these. The receptionist was quite surprised, saying it was quite a lot of gold. She asked Chen to please come upstairs and she would take him to meet someone. When Chen went upstairs, he met the manager, who was in charge of the shop. The manager greeted him and asked for his name and how much gold he was selling. Chen introduced himself, then opened his bag and told the manager that he wanted to sell all of the gold. Seeing the gold in the bag, the manager told Chen that he would need to have his team check the quality of the gold. He asked Chen to please wait a moment. The manager's staff got to work and started checking the gold while Chen sat on the sofa, waiting for them to finish. After a few minutes, the manager came back and told Chen that his gold bars weighed a total of 1.1250 grams. Since they were not very pure and were privately made, they would offer 400 yuan per gram. He asked Chen if that worked for him. Chen knew that privately made gold was hard to sell and that the price the manager was offering was reasonable, so he agreed. After all the necessary processes were completed, Chen received a message from his bank informing him that his account had been credited with 450,000 yuan. Chen then left the shop. While driving in his car, he saw many people returning from their colleges or workplaces. Seeing them, Chen thought, people my age are still hustling through college. While I can make millions from just one adventure, all of this feels too surreal to Chen, who has been poor all his life. After getting that much money, Chen decided that first he should get a car because his current car has such a low chassis and is terrible on the bumpy coastal roads. He went directly to a luxury auto showroom and the glasses guy went with him. Both of them began looking for the perfect car that Chen could use daily. While they were checking out cars, some new customers entered the showroom. It was a black-haired guy and his red-haired girlfriend. When Chen saw that girl, he immediately recognized her because she was his ex. Back then, Chen spent a fortune trying to win her over. And what did she do? She chased after wealth and status, living it up with rich boys. When the red-haired girl saw Chen, she mocked him, telling her boyfriend, "That guy over there is the loser who used to chase after me." Hearing that, her boyfriend laughed at Chen and asked, "What's a broke college kid like you doing in a luxury car showroom?" Hearing that, the glasses guy got very angry, asking them, "Who are you calling broke?" But Chen stopped the glasses guy, telling him not to mind them. Seeing the glasses guy angry, the black-haired boy said, "Are we not allowed to say the truth? Aren't you just a broke college student? This isn't a place you can afford, is it?" The red-haired girl told her boyfriend not to waste time on him and to let's go look at cars. The girl went and picked a red car, telling her boyfriend she wanted this one. Her boyfriend got scared. When he saw the expensive car, he tried to make an excuse, saying, "Let me check it out for you." He was thinking that money is for impressing women, and he only gets a few tens of thousands a month to spend, so how could he actually buy her a luxury car? On the other hand, Chen checked out a white car. Looking at the car, Chen thought, this car has a high chassis and can carry stuff. It should meet all my needs. He told the saleswoman that he wanted this car and would pay by card. The saleswoman told Chen that the car cost 2.38 million yuan and asked if he would be paying by card or in full. Chen told her that he would pay in full. The red-haired girl was shocked to hear that Chen was paying for the car by card and that the car cost 2.38 million. But her boyfriend came over and told her that Chen was just pretending. There was no way he had 2.38 million in his account. Hearing that, the red-haired girl agreed, telling him that back then, Chen couldn't even afford anything but instant noodles for weeks just to chase her. They made fun of Chen, calling him a broke student who was pretending to buy a luxury car. The black-haired guy came over and told Chen that there was no need to put on a show, because it would be embarrassing if his card got declined. The glasses guy told the black-haired guy that it was none of his business. The glasses guy immediately accepted the deal. The red-haired girl was laughing at Chen, thinking he was acting like he could really afford it, but he was just bluffing. After a few minutes, the sales girl returned and handed Chen his card and the key to the car, saying, "This is yours now." Chen thanked her and then looked at his ex-girlfriend and her new boyfriend. The boyfriend was shocked to see that Chen had actually bought the 2.38 million yuan car. The red-haired girl was also very confused, wondering how Chen had gotten so rich. The glasses guy grabbed the boyfriend by the collar, asking, "Aren't you going to keep your word and call our boss Dad?" But then Chen intervened and told the glasses guy not to waste time on people like this. While leaving with Chen, the glasses guy told the two of them that his boss was too kind. "If it were up to me, you wouldn't leave here today without saying Dad," he added. The black-haired guy was very embarrassed, and the red-haired girl was speechless. When Chen got into his new luxury car, she chased after him, asking him to just hear her out, but Chen didn't stop. Seeing her, chasing Chen's car, a saleswoman commented that she thought she had found a rich guy, but missed out on someone with real potential. Another saleswoman standing beside her agreed, saying, "That's just how people are. They only regret it after losing something." After leaving the showroom, Chen went to Cloud's Edge restaurant, N-City's top spot for fine dining and service. When he entered with his luxury car, all the waitresses greeted him with respect. He went to a private room when a waitress showed him. The waitress handed him the menu, asking what he would like to order. Chen looked at the menu and ordered a 5,888 yuan Boston lobster and a 7,888 yuan king crab, along with many other items. When the food arrived, two girls came to personally feed Chen with their hands. All the food tasted more delicious when the girls personally fed him. Chen was happy and said, "It's pricey but worth it." He was thinking that after cooking so many meals for his lizard, it was time to enjoy the luxury of life himself. While he was enjoying his meal, suddenly he got a message on his phone. It was from Chen's college advisor, who informed students that classes would start in a week and they had to report to school on time. When Chen saw the message from the advisor, he remembered that he was still a sophomore. Chen then opened his status window. His constitution had now reached 327, and his spirit was 49. He still had only one talent, mind control, his traits. External aura and key perceptions experience points also increased. The power of his skills, extremities boxing, stepping cloud jump, and tan leg technique had also grown. His companion, the armored spiked lizard's evolution points had reached 2,160, which required 5,000 points for the third evolution. Looking at the status window, Chen understood that once classes started, he would have less time, so he needed to earn more money quickly to help his little lizard break through to the Shadow Realm.